Hiya. I thought I'd do another couple of minutes, basically saying the same things as I just done, but so that just in case this is a little bit clearer. Anyway, hiya. My name's Neale Howells. I'm an artist based in South Wales. Been here a while now. I worked with Manic Street Preachers on the artwork for Know Your Enemy, Mark Evans' film Gala Now, and various exhibitions. Most probably more lately is John Martin Gallery in London. So I've been based with him for the last, God knows how long will that would be. That would be a couple of years now. So I think it was 2005 I got in touch, or he got in touch with me, and it sort of built from there really, showing one work, and building up to some great exhibitions. More lately we've been doing a lot of collaboration with a Welsh designer for London Fashion Week. So I think that ended up with about 7 or 8 collections where the work was used. So I think it was a strange one with the fashion, because it was always something I wanted to do. And I always knew that the work would look well in clothing and textiles and that. So 4 years ago, 2016, after I got the opportunity to show and to work with somebody, and I think we proved. Well, I think I proved that the work was good. So tick that box. And so yes, there's always, and I think before that there was animation which I was involved with. And again, what if when you do a show, you do things, you constantly get asked, well, what's this about? What's that about? And you got 2 options. You can either do the Radio 4 answer that nobody's interested in, or you can do the quick, sharp, shock answer. But what started to dawn on me was that I was doing these small animations of the work building up. And so when people asked me to do again, to say what was that work, but I say, come and have a look at this, and I just put this animation on a portable DV, and I'd look at it, and it seemed to answer all the questions. Now, this intrigued me, animation. Because animation is just a set of drawings, really, isn't it? So what is it about animation that gets people attracted to it? So I started evolving that. Then I started doing larger works which we animated and we put up on YouTube. And I think we got Creative Wales Awards for doing that. But it was always a strange one with animation. It's just how exciting it is to somebody, and it doesn't need explaining. I mean, from animation I realized that the secret of a good painting is not in the large, it's not in the overall look of it. It's in the small details. It's really strange, because you can work on some pieces and they can seem to be going nowhere, but it's because you've been through this sort of path before, and you know that it'll come. You just got to be persistent with it. And what usually happens is that it comes when it's in the smallest of marks. It can be well, like I do a lot of faces. I do a lot of this sort of figure, which you look at a lot of the works. It will appear in it a lot. I don't know. I think it's probably me though. That's my own little reasoning for it. I can't really bother to draw. So anyway, so I do these stick figures and stuff, and usually the details come with the faces. I've tried doing paintings which doesn't contain these images, and I find them it's not so much boring, but lacking something. So it's a lot. It takes a lot of strength to leave a picture alone for me, and not go back onto it and just draw back over it and that. Because I think once you've done that piece, you've got it out of your system, and well, where's it else to go? Well, you don't. You need to sort of do something else with it. You know, you proved that you can do that. Let's take it a bit further. And through those sort of adventures and those explorations within that work, new ideas were spawned. And I think ideas, a lot of the writing, you know, because of the music and the radio is constantly on, I sort of like feed news reports and whatever music is playing and gives me ideas, and then that comes, I write that in, and then that gets taken away with some more playing. So you really sort of, it's sort of an intuition sort of area. But if I go back to animation and all that, I think the secret of animation is that it's believable, and that's what you're trying to make. You're trying to make things which are believable, and it's, I suppose it's the difference between good acting and bad acting, because you know somebody who can't act, but to act badly on purpose is another skill in itself. So you've got to believe, when you see an actor, you believe them, don't you? You actually believe them, and I think you've got to take that sort of way of working, where in whatever you do, you've got to sort of believe in it. And I think it's quite good really that I mention acting, because cinema is a very strong influence on the work I do. So these things, I think the biggest piece we've done down here was about 12 foot by 16 foot. And I just basically want, my idea of shows were that if you was to go into a show, you're going to see these big works and they're going to blow you away. You know what I mean? They're going to grab you, shake you and go, wow. I'm really glad I chose here, not the cinema that is showing the new James Bond film. I can do that another time. And I think that sort of like competitiveness I've always had with different mediums. I want people to come to an exhibition, so I want the exhibition to be quite exciting. And I want people to walk away with it thinking, wow, I'm really glad that was a good choice, because you know the choices out there of what to entertain you is huge, you know. And I used to, and I feel like when I moved back to Wales, you were really building your platform such, because people weren't that interested in art. I don't know if they still like, it still is, but there's certainly a lot more artists about now in Swansea, Cardiff, and South Wales in generally, and I can see it on all these medium platforms, the amount of people putting their work up on a, and I guess you didn't have that. It was, I'm old school, so I most cut up a photocopy and pasted it back together. You know, I still enjoy doing that, and these are evidence of things like that. So so when I was come back to Wales, it was a bit of starting from ground zero and getting people interested in it. So that's why we became quite mouthy, quite anything to attract people's attention, anything to put art on the front page, not on the bloody middle pages. And I think we were quite successful at some points, and it just made art more interesting as far as I'm concerned. But look, if I was to show, I mean, some of the artwork we've been doing lately, and I think during lockdown, I think we've always had to work with what we've got, and they're quite easy to do with. So a lot of these you will see on here are sort of like cutouts where we sort of utilise images from the last 6-7 months, and then put them on here and sort of get them all involved in some of the work that we've been doing. This little mugger, I mean, that was a skip with the speakers that was found, but I didn't want to throw them away, and I think you guessed that now. I don't like throwing anything away, I'm too tight. And so you leave it in the studio, and I used it for a while, but then look what happened to it. And I just like that sort of idea that you can recycle things and reuse them again. And there's lots of evidence around here about chairs, furniture, and just bits which I've used over the years, and which seems to be, have gone fast enough. So I would like to think that, I mean, one of the things which I never thought I wouldn't be doing, and I've ended up doing it, is not working in my sketchbooks anymore. And I suppose your art teacher would always tell you, work in your sketchbooks, and that's exactly what I done. And I had like a small library of sketchbooks. I mean, I should fill a proper sketchbook up, maybe, you know, in a week, and that's no exaggeration. Proper, no words of white left. And then I realised then that what I was doing in the sketchbooks was more exciting than what I was doing outside. So the work actually became the sketchbook. So everything I worked on in those sketchbooks, I used to work on in those sketchbooks, I now work on outside the book. And the sad thing is, my sketchbooks, although I still got one or two, they are hardly used. They're used for notes, ideas, and just like, if I go to an exhibition, I still write down what I've seen and how artwork made me feel and whose artwork it is. And the days, that's just something I've always done. So I've got a nice catalogue of people's exhibitions and stuff. But yeah, so this has all become my sketchbooks. I've opened my sketchbooks up. Well, I'll leave it there now because that's a few minutes. So I've done two of them. Hopefully, you get the idea of my idea. The way I approach your painting is start off small and just continue to let the painting grow. I mean, if I was going to give any advice, I would just say, don't let the painting own you. Let you own the painting. So many examples I can give, and I remember in Cyprus College of Art where I was working next to this young girl, and I used to look at her work, and she was so precise in what she'd done, and I was a bit more expressive. I said, when you do something, you know, and we thought of working differently, and she said, no, I like doing this. I said, well, come and have a work on my picture then. So I invited her to work on the work I was doing. She was a totally different artist. She was grabbing the paint, going like, okay, it was my paint. So she's grabbing the paint, swinging around this, looking. And what I'm interested in is the difference between how she approached her own work and what liberated her with the work that I was doing. And it's that, again, it's that way of, she felt that the work, if she'd done anything, she didn't want to spoil what she was doing. And it's that which I mean by don't let the painting control you. Always, it's only a painting, not life or death. And just make sure that you can just constantly remember that paint, you were there to paint it, not the other way around. Don't let it control you. Too many artists think of that. But anyway, you do what you want to do. That was just like a little bit of advice. All right, thank you very much, and I will speak to you all soon.